surprised at how the league table looks at this stage coming out of the November international break, with Celtic sharing top spot with Aberdeen?
Well, I'm surprised at Aberdeen doing so well, and that's terrific, really. But am I really surprised about Rangers are just not really good enough? I know I've been saying that for some time, and that doesn't mean I don't want it to be a cheap jibe, because I've often said for Celtic to stay strong, need a strong Rangers side. Really do. Rangers Football Club is a great club. It is no doubt at all about it. It's a great club, and but the players that they have at this minute are not, or a number of them are not up to the standard that Rangers really should be looking at. That's my viewpoint. I thought that they did really fine in Olympiacos. I thought they played really well in that game, but you cannot trust Rangers to go and win games away from home. You know, let's say they were playing up at let's say it's St Johnstone, let's say Kilmarnock on the plastic pitch or whatever you call it. You just don't really fancy them. Whereas Craig's side, you just know that they'll get a result somewhere along the way. They will get a result, you know, obviously to my chagrin, but at the time. But overall, that's the point. Whereas I feel that Celtic European experiences now standing them in really good stead, getting a lot of confidence from playing so well out in Atalanta, which was great, and then getting the big result against Leipzig. So in terms of confidence, but when was the last time after 10 games, is it 10 league matches?
I think we're 11, are we?
Are we 11 now? Okay, that Rangers would find themselves, 9 points adrift?
Yeah.
That hasn't happened in some time.
And do you think, Craig, that tells an accurate story of where we are in the campaign, that 9-point differential?
I think it's actually very accurate at this moment in time, Rob. Martin's spot on in terms of the quality and the confidence at this moment in time that Celtic have. It is a big step ahead of where Rangers are currently. There's a lot of players that maybe it's not even in their locker, but certainly nowhere near their best. The team lacks a real consistency over 90 minutes, week in, week out. That has been a problem already in the 11 matches. The strange thing is, Martin, as well, is like you touch on the Olympiacos result, and in Europe, Rangers seem to have found a way, or it's a different type of game, I know, in Europe at
because
times.
They won at Malmo as well, didn't they?
Yeah, but it's just domestically. Like even, for example, the last match against Hearts before the international break, they score after 6 minutes, and as a manager and as a team and as supporters, you go and put that game to bed. They don't. They huff and they puff, and therefore the other team is always in the match at 1-0. And Ibrox, as we all know, at 1-0, it's a very nervy kind of place, and the fans are on every single pass sideways, pass backwards. They get on your case and all that sort of stuff. So it's the consistency for me over 90 minutes, week in, week out, that Rangers dramatically need to improve upon.
It's funny. Craig's talking about the European experiences and the way they played in the games, and as I mentioned, I thought they played really well against Olympiacos. And for a manager, you're feeling as if to say, well, maybe that's there. It is doing it, and every single game in the SPL is an important game. Really is important. And the one thing I definitely know this for, I never once in my 5 years there ever treated any game and feeling as if we're, with that confidence of going to win. I had great players playing for me, and that's terrific. And that, as a manager, you feel pretty good about that going onto the field. But I would never, away from home, I'd always felt the games are difficult. You have to go and win the games, and then, as Craig mentioned, if you can get the goal early, you try and put it to bed as quickly as possible. And so there's almost like a paradox in the sense that you have a feeling that as a manager, it's there, it can be there in games. Why are you not seeing this on a consistent basis? Why can you not put teams supposedly of lesser ability than those teams you're playing in European football? And that's kind of mind-blowing. The overall picture is this: at this minute you have to forget about European matches and really deal on something. Your immediate rivals are Celtic. And you are being judged by what happens in the SPL at this minute. If you go on and do brilliantly in Europe, that's great. But at some stage or another, you have to it's your bread and butter, and you have got to deal with that every week.